My name is Elena Martinez, and family has always been complicated. At 32, I thought I'd seen it all, until the day I discovered what my sister-in-law Victoria had done to my inheritance. It started with a casual phone call from my brother Michael's wife, her voice dripping with a mixture of excitement and mockery. "Oh, Elena," she said, barely containing her laughter. "I hope you don't mind, but that trust fund your parents left? Consider it taken care of." I was standing in my modest apartment in Chicago, fresh from a long shift at the hospital where I worked as a pediatric nurse. The evening sunlight cast long shadows across the room, creating an eerily perfect backdrop for the moment my world would change. "What are you talking about?" I asked, my hand gripping the phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. Victoria's laugh was sharp, cutting through the phone like a knife. "Those funds your parents set aside? Spent. Every single penny. Michael and I needed a new house, some investments. You weren't using it anyway." The trust fund wasn't just money. It was my parents' final gift, carefully preserved for my future. Mom and Dad had worked themselves to the bone, my father, a construction worker, my mother, a school cafeteria cook, to ensure their children would have opportunities they never had. I remember the day they told me about the trust fund. It was just months before the car accident that took them both. "This is for your dreams," my mother had said, her weathered hands holding mine. "Whether it's finishing your nursing degree, buying a home, or starting a family, this is your safety net." Victoria knew all of this. She knew exactly what that money meant to me. "You can't just spend someone else's inheritance," I said, my voice remarkably calm despite the storm brewing inside me. "Watch me," she replied. "Michael agrees. It's family money, after all, and we needed it more than you." More than me? I was the one working double shifts, paying off student loans, living in a small one-bedroom apartment. Michael and Victoria lived in a sprawling suburban home, drove luxury cars, and took vacations twice a year. The conversation ended with Victoria's final jab. "Don't make this a big deal. Family supports each other." Support. The word felt like a cruel joke. I spent that night gathering every piece of documentation I could find: bank statements, emails, text messages, anything that might prove what Victoria had done. My fingers moved mechanically, fueled by a mixture of anger and determination. My best friend Sophia found me at 3 a.m., surrounded by papers. "Elena," she said, placing a cup of coffee beside me, "what are you going to do?" I looked up, my eyes clear and focused. "I'm going to get everything back." The next morning, I contacted Mr. Rodriguez, the family lawyer my parents had trusted for years. He was old school, the kind of attorney who remembered every client story, who treated legal work like a sacred profession. "Elena," he said after listening to my story, "this is serious financial fraud." Victoria forged signatures, transferred funds without authorization. This isn't just a family dispute. This is a criminal matter. But pursuing legal action would mean destroying my relationship with Michael. We'd always been close, despite our differences. He was the golden child, athletic, charismatic, everything coming easily to him. I was the responsible one, the caretaker, the one who always put family first. Would he believe me over his wife? Mr. Rodriguez must have sensed my hesitation. "Sometimes," he said gently, "protecting yourself is more important than protecting a relationship built on false foundations." I thought about my parents, about their dreams for me, about the trust fund they carefully preserved, believing it would give me opportunities they never had. "What are my options?" I asked. Little did I know the path I was about to choose would change everything. Victoria thought she had won. She thought the money was hers, to spend, to waste, to use as she saw fit. She was about to learn a very different lesson. The first step was documentation. Every single transaction, every forged signature, every unauthorized transfer would become evidence. And I was going to make absolutely certain that Victoria understood the true meaning of consequences. My hands might have been shaking when I started making calls, but my resolve was solid as steel. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about respect, about justice, about honoring my parents' final gift to me. Victoria's laughter would soon turn to silence, and I would be the one to make that happen. The next few weeks became a meticulously planned operation. Mr. Rodriguez wasn't just a lawyer. He was a strategic mastermind who understood that revenge is best served cold, calculated, and legally bulletproof. We need evidence, he explained during our third meeting. Not just accusations, but ironclad proof that Victoria deliberately misappropriated your trust fund. I gathered every document possible. Bank statements showing unauthorized transfers. Text messages where Victoria brazenly admitted to spending the money. Emails discussing how she and Michael planned to use the funds for their family needs. Each piece of paper felt like a weapon, carefully positioned to dismantle Victoria's carefully constructed facade. My brother Michael remained blissfully unaware. Our monthly family dinners continued, with Victoria's smug smile and Michael's oblivious chatter about their latest home renovation. I played my part perfectly, calm, collected, showing no hint of the storm brewing beneath the surface. "How's work?" Michael would ask. "Fine," I'd respond, watching Victoria shift uncomfortably, sensing something had changed. The first blow came unexpectedly. Mr. Rodriguez discovered that Victoria had not just spent the trust fund, but had actually committed multiple counts of financial fraud. She'd forged signatures, created fake documentation, and transferred funds through a complex network of accounts. "This goes beyond simple theft," he told me, spreading documents across his mahogany desk. "This is a sophisticated financial crime." I learned that Victoria had a history of financial manipulations. Previous employers had complaints about her accounting practices. There were whispers of discrepancies in her previous jobs, always smoothed over, always hidden. But not this time. Mr. Rodriguez contacted the bank, presenting them with our carefully compiled evidence. They were obligated to investigate. Forensic accountants were brought in, tracing every single transaction. Each revelation was like watching a carefully constructed house of cards begin to collapse. The first official warning came through an official bank investigation notice. Victoria's face went pale when the first letter arrived. I watched her hands shake as she opened the envelope, her confident demeanor crumbling. "What is this?" she demanded during a family dinner, her voice a mix of panic and anger. I met her gaze.
"Cool. Come."
"Perhaps you should read it carefully." Michael looked confused. "What's going on?" Victoria's attempts to deflect became increasingly desperate. She tried to paint me as the villain, claiming I was trying to destroy their family. "She's jealous," she told Michael. "Jealous of our success. Of our life." But the evidence spoke louder than her accusations. Mr. Rodriguez was 3 steps ahead. He filed a formal complaint with the district attorney's office. The investigation wasn't just about recovering the money. It was about holding Victoria accountable for her actions. "Financial fraud is a serious crime," he explained. "And your sister-in-law has left a trail that cannot be ignored." The next phase was strategic. We didn't just want the money back. We wanted Victoria to understand the true cost of her betrayal. Local authorities became involved. Victoria's workplace began an internal investigation into her financial practices. Her professional reputation, something she had carefully cultivated, started to crumble. Friends began distancing themselves. Whispers spread through their social circle. The perfect suburban couple was showing cracks. Michael started asking questions, not accusatory but confused. "Why are the bank and police asking about our finances?" he would ask Victoria. Her responses became more frantic, more defensive. I continued to play my part perfectly.
"Come."
Collected. Waiting. During a family gathering, I watched Victoria's carefully constructed world begin to unravel. Her confidence was replaced by a growing sense of panic. She knew something was coming, but she couldn't anticipate what. "Is everything okay?" I asked her innocently, knowing full well it was not. Her smile was more of a grimace. "Everything's fine," she responded, but her eyes told a different story. Mr. Rodriguez kept me informed of every development. The bank had frozen their accounts, pending investigation. The district attorney was building a case. Victoria's attempts to move or hide money were being carefully documented. "We're not just seeking justice," he told me. We're ensuring she understands the full consequences of her actions. My parents had always taught me about integrity, about working hard, about respecting what belongs to others. Victoria had violated every single one of those principles. And now, she would learn that actions have consequences. The final piece was about to fall into place. Victoria thought she had gotten away with her theft. She thought a simple laugh and a dismissive attitude would protect her. She was wrong. Very wrong. As I sat in my apartment, looking at the documents that would soon change everything, I felt a sense of calm. This wasn't about revenge. This was about justice. About honoring my parents' memory. About protecting what was rightfully mine. Victoria's laughter would soon stop, and the authorities were about to dial. The game was just beginning. The final act of our carefully orchestrated plan unfolded on a crisp autumn morning. Victoria had no idea that her world was about to completely implode. The first domino fell when the district attorney's office officially filed charges. Financial fraud, identity theft, multiple counts of unauthorized fund transfer. The documents were comprehensive, leaving no room for interpretation or escape. Michael was the first to truly understand the depth of Victoria's betrayal. During a tense family meeting, Mr. Rodriguez laid out every single piece of evidence: the forged signatures, the unauthorized transfers, the systematic theft of my inheritance. "How could you?" Michael asked Victoria, his voice a mixture of disbelief and anger. "We're family." Victoria's perfectly crafted persona crumbled. The confident, manipulative woman I knew dissolved into a desperate, cornered individual. Her attempts to explain, to justify, became increasingly frantic. "It was just money," she stammered. "I thought you didn't need it." But it was never just about the money.
It was about respect.
About honoring my parents' final gift. About maintaining the integrity of family. The legal consequences were swift and severe. Victoria lost her job when her employer conducted an internal investigation. Her professional network, carefully built over years, began to disintegrate. Friends stopped calling. Invitations dried up. The financial impact was devastating. Their luxury home went on the market. Michael, caught between shock and anger, began to see his wife for who she truly was. "I've been covering for her for years," he confessed to me during a quiet moment. "I just never saw it." Mr. Rodriguez ensured that every penny was traced. The trust fund wasn't just about money. It was about my parents' legacy, their final gift to me. Each dollar would be recovered, with interest. The bank's investigation revealed a pattern of financial manipulation that went beyond just my trust fund. Victoria had a history of similar actions, carefully hidden until now. The authorities were building a case that would have long-lasting consequences. During the legal proceedings, I remained calm. This wasn't about vengeance. This was about accountability. My mother's words echoed in my mind. "Integrity matters more than anything," she'd always said. I was proving her right. The turning point came during a family court hearing. Victoria, once so confident, now looked small and defeated. Her attempts to manipulate the situation fell apart under the weight of documented evidence. "I just wanted to help our family," she claimed. But help wasn't theft. Help wasn't betrayal. Michael stood by my side during the proceedings. The brother I'd loved my entire life was seeing the truth. Not through anger, but through clarity. "I'm sorry," he told me after one particularly difficult hearing. "I should have seen this years ago." The financial recovery was just the beginning. My trust fund was fully restored, with additional compensation for the unauthorized use. But the real victory was deeper. It was about reclaiming my power, about showing that family isn't about blind loyalty, but about respect and integrity. Victoria's world continued to unravel. Criminal charges meant she would struggle to find employment. Her professional reputation was destroyed. The social circle she carefully cultivated began to distance themselves. Mr. Rodriguez was more than just a lawyer. He became a guardian of justice, ensuring that every legal avenue was explored. "Your parents would be proud," he told me during our final meeting. The money was important, but the restoration of my family's dignity was priceless. Michael and I began to rebuild our relationship, not as it was before, but as something more honest, more real. He understood now the true meaning of family. I misjudged you, he admitted. I always thought you were the quiet one, but you're the strongest of us all. As the legal proceedings concluded, I felt a sense of peace. This wasn't about winning or losing. This was about standing up for what was right. My parents had always believed in me. They had saved this trust fund as a testament to their love, their hope for my future. Victoria had tried to steal that hope. She failed. Standing in my now paid-off apartment, looking at the restored trust fund, I realized something profound. Family isn't about blood. It's about respect, about integrity, about standing up for what's right, even when it's hard. Victoria thought she could laugh away my inheritance. Her laughter had long since stopped, and the authorities they had dialed. Justice, it seemed, was a dish best served with patience, precision, and unwavering integrity.